Hello, I'm your host, K1D Comment, and welcome to my new series I like to call Half-Assed Reviews. The series in which I review a game in which I'm only halfway done with. So basically, I'm just an IGN journalist at this point. And this week, I'm covering Black Myth Wukong, the latest action-adventure game coming from a Chinese studio, being Game Science. Game Science is a new studio being founded by a handful of ex-Tencent Games employees, and this being their first game. I say all of this with a major asterisk. First off, this is a new studio. The studio was actually created all the way back in 2014 with a whopping 13 people. And second off, this isn't technically their first game, it's their third. The first two games being 100 Heroes and Art of War Red Tides, one being a multiplayer strategy game, and the former I can't even find, so take that how you will. Following the mantra, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, the studio decided to return back to their Tencent route to make their next game, also having to do with the Journey to the West. Well, Journey of the West. Just like one of their former games before creating the Game Science studio. But instead of just doing another free-to-play MMORPG, what they used to work on, they instead decided to do an entire 180, taking the journey to the West, both literally and figuratively. The idea for Black Myth Wukong started sometime in 2018, in which they decided they wanted to tap into the AAA market. The gaming market, thanks to them coming to the realization that there is more Steam accounts in the Asias than there are in the Americas. So, they proceeded to try and tap into the market. Fast forward to the year 2020, aka the start of the pandemic, in which I like to call it the bandemic because I was racking in crazy bread and views. No, I wasn't. My first video came out damn near like right in the middle of 2021. And on top of that shit had like only 11 views. Means only like no one watched it since I watched it like 8 times myself. But you know what? Maybe I exaggerate a tad bit, but it doesn't matter. What does matter is 2020. That a game was shown that gave hope for the future and for what gaming will become. And that game was the Castillo Protocol. Crimson Desert. Call of Duty Black Ops Warzone. Okay, you know what? I think y'all get the point. A couple of games were shown, but one that flew under the radar was Black Myth Wukong. Instead of taking a teasing approach, they opted for a whole whopping 13 minutes of pure gameplay, from the luscious visuals, awesome boss and aim designs, and the creme de la creme, that combat. It looked too good to the point that some people speculated that it would get a downgrade, and even more speculated that the game didn't even exist and that this was nothing but a tech demo. And the latter half was kind of correct. See, this trailer wasn't really dropped to get people hype. It kind of was, but more importantly, it was to get new people in the studio, given the fact that there was only 30 people working on it at the time. So with this trailer came a flood of thousands of applicants, making the team of 30 turn into a team of 140. Skipping along 4 years and a controversy. Yeah, I didn't look into it that deep, but from what I've seen, them boys have some lot of accusations, and yeah, we're gonna keep pushing. The game released and is a total success. Now, is it game of the year or decade? Probably not. I haven't beaten it yet. I'm still gonna run my mouth about it. For this review, I'm using my usual standards, being story, world, gameplay, and comic. Starting off with story. The story takes major inspiration from the Journey to the West, following a nameless protagonist, who I guess people call Monkey since he's a monkey, as he goes and tries to collect the pieces of gear left by the Monkey King himself after being defeated. Yeah, that's all I got for the story. This game is truly about just that, nothing else. Now there is some side dialogue in which you can infer the story, similar to how Souls games tell their stories, and shit, I skipped that too, so I'm not doing that. There's some themes and some messages sprinkled in after each chapter. Probably was also in the book, but I ain't read that. And neither did you, so I give the story aspect an okay out of 10. Simple, basics, some might even say boring, but you know what you can't say is boring? Is the world. See, the world of Black Myth Wukong is anything but boring. It invites you in to explore and take in every inch it got. It's huge, it's massive. Sometimes I think I can't handle all of it all at once, but I know I can power through it, straight through it. Thankfully, the game helps limit how many inches you can explore via chapters. Each chapter unlocks a different map that has variety. So far, I'm on chapter 4 of 6, so far I'm like 60% done. I have fought in the jungles of the Black Wind Mountain, the snowy landscapes of the Soul Gripping Cliff, the twilight of the Purple Cloud Mountain, and the sands and mountains of Afghanistan. And on top of that, you can revisit any one of these maps at any time in case you missed anything, such as an ally or foe who inhabits the world. See, along your journey to the west, allies and foes just pop up. Allies will help you by giving you items and upgrades, making the journey that much bearable, from giving recipes to make different medicines, allowing you to buy upgrades and or materials for your gourds, your armor and weapons, or even straight up giving you more stats such as mana, stamina, or health, all of which you would need to handle the various foes that fill the landscape. See, the land of Black Myth Wukong is not for the faint of hearts. Enemies are not forgiving at all, some having the ability to sneak you, such as these flying guys, some being quicker and more agile, such as these ninjas. Hell, some have status effects such as poison, ice, and fire. It's tough out here. You're going to have to stay on your toes, and I haven't even mentioned the numerous bosses, mini bosses, and just giant bosses. You'll be fine for your life, and you will lose your life a ton, but thankfully, to keep you from saying, F it all, is the gameplay. If the story was a bread and butter, the gameplay is meat and potatoes, the tomahawk steak, the pig with the apple in his mouth, aka the main star of the game. The game is both a boss rush and a Souls-like, and if you're in the camp where you think it's not a Souls-like, well, how can I say this?
Shut up, bitch!
The game follows your standard Souls-like gameplay, having a stamina bar, not being able to cancel a majority of your moves, having little posts that you bond, like act as your bonfire, being able to teleport, change your loadout and specs, being able to create potions and upgrade gear and weapons, having to rest to restore your health and mana, as well as refill your flask, or the gourd, the gourd, while also respawning most enemies you killed. It's kind of like a boss rush game, because truth be told, you're going to fight a ton of bosses, mini bosses, and side bosses. Prime example is this section right here from the beginning. To your right, you have this big-headed boss. To the left, like 2-3 seconds away, you have another boss. And after defeating the big-headed boss, you can run into another boss not too far away. Now, this may seem like a lot to take in, but fighting them does make the game easier for the next boss. So we're going to take the same example and break it down. Beating this boss right here, he has this fire staff. It gives you alternation, whatever, meaning you turn into set character, and you can use their set of skill for a short time, aka you're just stealing their moveset. Basically, you Shang Tsung. Beating the baby gives you their quiet skill, aka the special ability. So for him, this is his bash. And for the wolf, he don't drop anything special. I just wanted to add him just to say I beat him first try, cause I'm like that. These skills help throughout the game. You can also change them as you meet and defeat more of these types of enemies. Different enemy variety. Well, different types of enemies, damn it. This isn't all your abilities, since you gain new skills throughout the game, such as having the ability to stop foes right in their tracks, becoming solid rock, and immune to damage, making shadow clones, and even more. Each skill has the ability to be upgraded via the skill menu. Speaking of the skill menu, there's a ton, from being able to unlock more perks for new skills, new attacks, different stances, or just upgrading your character stat. You can make your character how you like. Side note, you get level up points, which called sparks. You can get them through combat, beating enemies. Also, by these meditations, you meditate, they give you one, and yada yada. Okay, moving on. Speaking of stances, there's 3 of them. Truth be told, I haven't really touched them. I'm like a child molester with dementia. I think I may have touched 1 or 2 of them. But primarily, I try to stick with the first 3, since it kept the game combat kind of simplistic, which is I enjoy. I enjoy simplicity, being simple, having simpleness. Also, speaking of combat, let's just get into that. The square button is used as your regular attack, while triangle is your heavy. These 3 little dots on the side right here, or these 2 are having, I don't know what footage I'm using. These dots right here, they're your focus. You build it up by attacking, doing perfect dodging, etc. Use it to power up your heavy attacks. It's supposed to stun them. It gives them a stun, I think, a stagger. Just it's combo stuff. Again, you can build your character how you like. If you want your characters to move faster, there's a set of clothes. When you put them on, they makes you faster. Maybe you want to have a higher attack damage after using a heal. You can change the soak. The soak is something you put in the gourd. It's like this area right here. You can change them up. Add it to your gourd, aka the flask. Maybe you want more defense, so you can change around your build to add more. Since a good portion of stuff you can equip also have added bonuses, such as this quad. this quad right here. If you see right here, it adds more defense. It says it right here. Vessels, they do something. Truth be told, I'm about 60% done with the game, and I still don't know how or where to get a different vessel. I've been running around with the same vessel for like the whole game. I get it back all the way in chapter 1. I'm in chapter 4 now. I don't know how to get another one. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe I'm skipping something. Maybe it's more than likely optional content. But yeah. So if you want to know what it does for this one, when you activate it, it blocks fire damage, and that's really it. Now, with all the praise I've given the game, which I have somewhere, we have to talk about the comic. You may be wondering what that means. It's easy. This shit got issues. First off, the game is fun, yet challenging, especially the main bosses and the bigger bosses. With that being said, fuck the camera. It truly doesn't matter who you fighting. At some point, you will be fighting the camera. Prime example, this dragon boss right here on book 3, chapter 3. I cannot see this man at certain points. Another example, fighting bosses, getting them to corners. These are mostly smaller bosses. The camera will spaz out on you. Again, I cannot see what is happening, so it kind of breaks the combat. It does break the combat. Speaking of cannot seeing, if you're fighting a boss with an elemental attack, mostly the lightning, yeah, expect to get hit by an attack you cannot see due to the light blinding you, aka the particles / special effects. It's a blinder for your eyes. And if you make it through all that, be prepared for the game to start lagging at the worst times. You can be fighting a boss and you whooping his ass, putting him in combos, and out of nowhere his own frame will start dropping. It's hella annoying. Besides that, I have some minor problems, such as sometimes when I'm attacking enemies, they don't get staggered like they're supposed to, and they end up just powering through and breaking my combo. Speaking of powering through, sometimes you get hit while trying to use your ability, the skill doesn't activate, but it still takes a mana or the quiet energy, and not have to wait for a recharge. Oh yeah, on top of that, sometimes when you try and use your quiet for some reason, the nigga just doesn't do it, and instead he does a little staff thing. It's a skill that's supposed to like deflect the R2 trigger button. It deflects. It works as deflect, and he starts doing that instead of like actually using the quiet. So for the quiet, you hit R2 and L2 at the same time, but sometimes he just does R2 and it pisses me off. It's annoying. Another nitpick. This is more like quality of life. Why is there no damn map? Seriously, there's just no map. I felt as though the game would be useful. It would be fantastic with a map. Anything else? Nah, I'm pretty much done running my mouth. So, if you like what you saw, oh, also, if you would like my full thoughts and opinions on the game, hit the subscribe button, because I will be doing a kill count where I go through and basically retell the story. There ain't really no fucking story, so I'm gonna just be talking about all the kills, all the enemies he defeated. So, with that being said, Galaxy needs me. Actually, no. Share your thoughts. How you feeling about the game so far? I think it's been out for like a solid week now, or like a week and a day, a week and 2 days. Yeah. Put in the comments how y'all feel about the game. With that being said, the Galaxy needs me. Farewell.
In both face and mind, are free for you to draw. I'm a shapeshifter. Have no face to show. Please don't take off my mask, my disguise.